Welcome to Not Cliche Conversation. This is Jeremiah, JP. I'm here with my lovely guest. I'll let her introduce herself.
My name is Grayson.
Okay, so today's topic is healing from emotional pain and the steps you got to take to recover from them. So off the bat, let's kind of go with healing from emotional pain. Give me like a past experience. Maybe let's go last relationship.
Okay.
What you learned from it?
I would say the main thing is for me, which I know this now, is I need to keep God first in my life before I enter a relationship, because I felt like my last relationship is the guy was my everything, and so when I didn't have that, it's kind of I fell apart. Whereas now that I've found my connection with God, it's I feel like I can go through anything or get through anything.
So did you come into that relationship with any emotional baggage, any trauma that was hindering you from making being completely vulnerable and
I would say no, because I was young. I was in high school and we dated up until college, really.
So okay, that has some length to it.
Yeah.
That has some length to it. Alright. So what mentally have you dealt with? What emotional traumas have you dealt with growing up in life, period?
I would say the main thing is not having a father. My mom raised me. Mm-hmm. So as far as having a male in my life, I wasn't really used to that. So I feel the first person, well, not the first person, but kind of the first person that I gave a shot, it was okay, well, this is what it feels like. And then I realized after the fact, well, this is what I want and this is what I don't want from a man.
So did you ever see at some point where you would realize damn, maybe me not having my father around made me act like this, or things about me that people not understanding comes from this?
A little bit. I would say clinging to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Usually it would just be me and my mom, and she's married, but I feel her relationship is not that strong. So I never really had a healthy relationship to view in my life.
Right.
So I feel I took a lot of stuff because I didn't really know any better.
So you realize it's basically trial and error,
mm-hmm.
trying to figure something out and kind of going through it.
Yeah.
I can definitely relate, because growing up, I have a wonderful stepfather now, but before that, going through elementary, when he kind of wasn't there, he came around 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, I was mama's boy, kind of still am. But with that, growing up and seeing how my mama dealt with her situations, it was kind of I was trying to understand from a woman's perspective, what is a man's missing? Because in my eyes, my mom was a perfect woman.
Mm-hmm.
So to see her kind of be single and push through life, I'm what about my mama is people aren't picking up on? Why is she feeling like this? But she held it in well, and that kind of gave me my sensitive side for women, to kind of understand them before you go out your way and do anything to hurt their feelings. I always step in with good intentions. So that had a lot to do with my outlooks. When I started getting into relationships, serious relationships. Middle school was a bunch of games, but high school kind of picked up for me. That's where it was I'm really investing actual emotions. I'm really trying to feel what love is like.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kind of picked it up for me. So what is one thing you would have done differently in your last relationship?
One thing. I probably would have left a lot sooner. And just because I feel I grew a lot when I came to college, but it's I had already formed this relationship where I found my best friend. And then it took me a long time to really accept the fact that we're just different. High school Grayson is not college Grayson, and college Grayson is not going to accept the things that high school Grayson accepted.
Right. So what did your healing process look like?
I'm still figuring that out. I think once I started going to church, every Sunday, reading the Bible, just like getting used to being by myself and not having like that one somebody to talk to, that one somebody to wake up, what you doing, or that one somebody to just go to. I had to learn like, all right, Grayson, like this is you now. So
did you see that play an effect in like, once you know what you had to do, you started going to church, did you ever look at your friends who you saw going through similar things and be like, hey, y'all need to try this? Or did you step back and not like give them any advice on it?
I feel like me and my friends are all different.
Right.
And to a certain extent, you gotta let your friends figure stuff out for themselves because everybody's different.
So you know what you were doing and you was just like, you know, I'm figuring it out for myself and I know it's different for them.
Yeah, and then a lot of my closest friends like are a little bit younger than me. So it's like I don't really talk relationship advice with them because I don't know, I just keep a lot of stuff in. And that's just how I deal with things. I kind of just see what works for me because I don't like a lot of opinions from people.
That's true. That's facts. So have you been hurt by somebody like outside of an intimate relationship, outside of a boyfriend or somebody you were dating? Has it been friends or loved ones that's kind of like hurt you emotionally or mentally?
Like family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess
you
we
want me to
go.
elaborate?
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah. So I grew up without my dad, like my biological father, and then my mom married my stepdad. But I would say like once I reached high school, it was kind of like, okay, well, why my dad left me?
Right.
And so I just got not hung up on, but I just wanted to know like more about him. And then when I gave him the opportunity, he couldn't give me the answers that I needed. But after that we talked, it was kind of like I had already found God. So I was just able to just put it away, you know? It was just like, you can't give me, and it's kind of like the same thing with my relationship. You can't give me the answer that I need, so I just gotta let you go.
That's facts. Damn. I kind of felt like that. I grew up, like, my biological, I've seen him twice in my life. Once, way back in elementary school. The second time I saw him was, I don't know what my parents were thinking. They thought it would be cool to surprise me and go see him. They didn't tell me, so I was born in Decatur. So to get my birth certificate and stuff, I have to go back to the same hospital and, you know, request my information. And I'm thinking, okay, you know, I'm finna apply for the job, so I need to go get my birth certificate. I need a copy. We went to Atlanta, and my mama then was just talking around like, hey, I think your dad, grandma stays up here. Let's go around the corner and see if she's there. So go around, grandma right there, and grandma knows exactly where he is. So she's like, yeah, he around the corner over there. So we go around there, and there he is. I'm just like, damn. Why they do me like that? And I know my mama. I know she was intentionally doing that. And so I was like sophomore year in high school, and he was excited. He was calling everybody, you know, I've been trying to find you. No, that nigga wasn't. But I kind of let that go. But luckily for me, like, I was like so much under my mother that I kind of despised him for leaving her alone. And that's some baggage like I had towards him. It didn't turn me into a worse person. Like I say, like being around my mama made me appreciate women a lot more. But not having him, I wasn't this ruthless dude trying to, you know, fight back whatever was taken away from me. Like, I don't have this, so I want you to feel like what it's like to not have this. So all the anger I thought I had towards him, when I seen him, it went away. And it wasn't even anger no more. It came from a point of understanding. Like the love, like it was a love of understanding. Like I didn't even like have a deep conversation with him to kind of see what happened. It was just more of I've already accepted who I am as a man and who I want to become. So with or without that relationship, I don't think I'd be in a worse place. Like having you around, not having you, it won't do nothing to me. Like I'm already set on this path to become this person, and I'm already being built up by my family, by my mother, by my stepfather, by my friends, and I'm already in a great place. So it's like, it's respected and it's admired to meet you, to see you, you know, appreciate to still have a father that's alive and that's around, but you haven't been here for so long, there's nothing that you can change now. And of course, you know, we tried to establish a connection like after this, you know, like, hey, we should meet up. I haven't seen you in a while, let's talk. Tried to throw that out there. He wasn't consistent on his end, he didn't make calls. So I was like, you know, hands free. Mama and Pops knew. I was like, hey, like, he ain't called, don't worry about it. Like, and then I told him, like, I appreciate what y'all did. You know what I'm saying? Trying to maybe go out there and see my father and see if like we can rekindle something, and just, you know, just so he can see my face, because he hadn't seen me since I was in elementary. But after that, I just let it go. I haven't talked to him since, but it's no bad blood. It's nothing that weighs heavy on my mind. It's nothing that's affecting me in any way. Because I see a lot of people, their daddy issues run deep.
Yeah.
Like the inconsistent fathers who's been in and out, the ones who were, I don't know, overprotective. I really can't say because it wasn't my story, but I've seen some negative effects in like other people's stories about they despise their fathers. They don't want to be around them. And mentally, I guess it weighs a lot.
Yeah.
As far as relationships, I've had a few relationships hurt me, and that has scarred me towards women. It has. I can say maybe high school. One in high school, I learned a lot of lessons in high school with women. It was more of like, I felt like I wasn't appreciated. Young kid, I feel like I was like, I don't even want to use the word pure, but I had intentions that I feel like were like too good. It was about how I wanted to express myself to make the other person feel good, and then the energy wasn't reciprocated. So going with that and coming into college, it was like, damn, like I shouldn't be looking for something too good, you know what I'm saying? Because I've always been this person, but the energy hasn't been there for me to feel appreciated. So what am I really coming in looking for? And emotionally, I don't know. I've left like a lot of sensitive parts out about myself. Like I used to be, I won't say caring, but a lot more thoughtful. Like when I woke up, it was, what could I do to like make sure you wake up feeling as good as I do? So that kind of correlated my actions. Like I'm waking up, I'm feeling good. I want you to feel good too. So here's a little paragraph. Here's a picture of this. I want you to think. Like I'm trying to spark your mind, get you thinking, get you started. And I kind of like, after I realized it wasn't appreciated, I let this shit go.
Well, why didn't you just say it?
Say what?
Voice your feelings of not being appreciated.
True. One thing about me, I feel like people only understand you from their own level of like understanding. So people who don't think like I think, people who don't know how I think or know how I act, is like no purpose into that. And to an extent, like you would think like, yeah, that's my woman, she should know a little bit more about me. But relationships back then for me were pretty shallow. It was as long as we could keep each other smiling, we could laugh together, and we had feelings. That's kind of what our relationship was based off on. It wasn't no establishing communication. It wasn't really trying to find vulnerability. It wasn't really a lot of understanding. It was listening, it was talking, it was being real. But I wasn't comfortable enough to kind of open up and like voice it. You know, when I had doubts, I kind of just let it run in my mind, and then I ran away. Like that was me. Like if I didn't like how things were going, I really didn't know how to fight for it. I didn't know how to like, you know, talk through a situation, and nobody had taught me. But in my head, if we was arguing too much, that's a sign from God that, oh, it's time to bounce. Like, you know, we ain't talking about nothing else but our issues and our problems, and you're not seeing my side. I'm trying to hear yours, but I still don't, you know, give like, that's the reason for you to act like that. So I was always out the door. And things went like that. What about, I'm gonna go back. Let me say one thing my last relationship taught me in the healing process. one thing my last relationship, I would say, taught me was, I guess in a sense you could say like, to be more appreciative of a person, but also to find what it is that you're missing. Because when I see what I'm trying to be for somebody, I'm also trying to realize like, what are they to me? What are they for me? Mm-hmm. And not that I'm trying to use them, but that it's understanding of like, I've changed these things in your life, and I want it to be like, we're growing on the same level. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to be like more appreciative, because the more things, when I come in with good intentions, the more things tend not to work out, the more I contemplate, and it makes me frustrated because I feel like, damn, it's me again. Mm-hmm. Like, I came in with good intentions, but I fell short and they didn't come off the right way. And now it's like another troubled relationship. Mm-hmm. So that usually throws me off a lot. One thing I try to do, and this is the idea, is to find peace in conflict. So in my situations, instead of like praying or wishing that I had no conflict, mm-hmm. it's trying to come to a mental level to where I find peace within the conflict. Because I guess I've understood now that problems gonna come regardless if you want them or not. It's inevitable in life. So in relationships, in situations with friends, in situations with family, I'm trying to control myself, but in this, I kind of need to realize, I find an understanding to where it's like, there's something peaceful about this. Mm-hmm. So that way, you won't leave a situation as hurt. Because if you're praying for the conflict to end, and the next situation comes, you'll be back in that low spot. You'll be back depressed, stressed out, real anxious, anxiety be on 10. But if you can kind of be curious enough to understand yourself more, self-awareness, and kind of like, you know, in the midst of all this trouble, I can be grateful and at least say that at least this isn't going on, or whatever you have to come to for you to realize that like problems will always come, but if I'm always this person on this mental plane, mm-hmm. then I don't really have to worry about situations because I know how to handle myself in them.
Well, what do you mean by peace and conflict? You mean like staying level-headed, or just like, what do you mean by that?
By peace and conflict, if you know, for instance, you can't control what other people do, mm-hmm. and of course things happen unexpectedly. Let's say all of a sudden, like your mom or your father says something disrespectful, mm-hmm. and you're like, wow, like from my own mama, from my own father. Then you thinking like, damn, like that shit hurt. And so you sit and you think, you like, wow, like somebody you thought would care, love, protect, not do anything to make you feel like this, got you feeling like this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, okay, what can I do to not feel like this? Or to understand the situation and rise above it. I feel like there's a certain level of understanding and healing that peace comes in. It's seeing things from that perspective. What made them say that? Mm-hmm. Why would they say that? What's going on in their life that has them projecting negative feelings towards me? Mm-hmm. And then also, it's when you take that inward journey to heal, it's like, what can I say? Like, what emotions did this provoke in me? But what are my steps to not feeling like this? That way, if the situation ever comes again, and it doesn't have to be from the same person, maybe a loved one or a partner, you'll know, you'll be self-aware, like enough self-awareness to where you can track back and remember those steps. And there's peace in that. It's, mm-hmm. I felt this before. I felt depressed before. I've been stressed before. I felt this level of anxiety before. Mm-hmm. So let me retreat. Let me go back in my thoughts. Let me realize that like, I can't control what other people do. Let me kind of, you know what I'm saying? Figure a few things out for myself. And everybody's healing process is different. Mm-hmm. I think, like you say, for you, like church, if you're somebody who's seeking answers and don't know where to find them, and you know, church might be the place for you. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to find something within yourself and you really don't feel comfortable going to church, you have to know that. But I think there's steps that you got to take to come to that realization that you need to find that peace. Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a role model, maybe it's a specific person who you just need to find online, maybe it's one video, maybe it's a quote. You just got to find that one thing that kind of triggers your mind, gets you thinking, and starts you on that path. Because it's not set out like these are the 3-4 steps you got to take. Once you finish it, boom, you'll be here. I think it's you find each step as you go along. It's like you found the first one, and on your journey, the second one appears, and the third one's appeared, and so on and so forth with it. But when it comes to like women, what would you tell other females if they're emotionally hurt, if there's trauma in their life from a boyfriend, a partner, or a family member, or a friend? Do you have any advice for anyone that needs it, like start that healing process? Take that first step.
I would just say you really just have to find what works for you. Because I think a lot of people go to others for advice.
Right.
But what I do for me might not work for you.
True.
So you just really have to figure out what's going to help me inside of myself as an individual.
And I'll say to my guys, to everybody really, one thing that I can say helped me a lot is in certain situations, you got to realize that there's not always a solution to the problem, more of like a truth to be accepted. That's something I read a while ago that really helped me. So when things happen, I wasn't always trying to point blame or in my feelings about it. It was like, you know what? There's not really anything I can do about this. There's not a way to fix this. I just have to accept that this is who that person is. This is who I am. And that's how the situation is going to play out. And I think that's important. So sometimes you got to find that truth. Sometimes there ain't no solution. But that'll wrap it up for today. So with that, this is Not Cliche Conversation, a therapeutic space where we give unlicensed advice. Thank you.